I am not a financial advisor. These videos are all meant for educational purposes only. All Complete Trader Academy videos are my personal opinion and perspective. Trading carries a high level of risk, and all results are your own responsibility. Please always demo first. Hey everybody, welcome back to CT Review. Today is August 20, Tuesday, 2024. Hope you had a good day today. I'm super under the weather. My throat, I don't know what's going on. I woke up with a massive sore throat in the middle of the night, in the morning, and I've been resting all in the morning. I don't know if it's from my wife's washing the fruits with a certain thing. I don't know what it is, man, but it just came out of nowhere. But not interested in the market as well, so I decided to take a rest day. But today, as you see, we did push up higher into that gap, and then we did pretty much sell off at 50% of that gap. So let's go to the open here on the 15-minute. We speakered out right here from the origin. And you generally, as you notice, if you notice these patterns and trends, that these at the end of the day of the previous day, it'll kind of create this high and low, right? Like this candle right here, this 4 p.m. 15-minute candle, for example, right? Made a high, made a low, and then we came up, all right, and then we made 3 drives up, right, and then we came down and made 2 drives down, right? So we kind of like then take out that low of that 4-minute, that 15-minute 4-minute candle, right? So here, you see that we then at 9, let me transfer to this screen here now. But then you'll see here at 9:30, when the price is down here, we are sitting in that imbalance, yes. And if you were to, let me kind of zoom in on this 4-hour on the screen here, so I can make look a little more sense. Let me change this to only visible here, and I'll just keep it on the 1 hour. Okay, so try to make this simple, but yes, we have that imbalance that's sitting there. If I was to have highlighted that, and let's take a look here. For example, okay, so here's the thing, right? Like if you're bullish, then you would want to see it bounce from here, right? But because we have a larger gap, I'm gonna go up to this top left screen, you have a 4-hour balance, then you have to keep that in mind, right? Because you don't want to refine too much. But then if we delete the whole thing altogether, right? Like let's just delete it all together. I'm gonna delete it all together. What do we have here? Well, we're pushing up. Another reason why I wasn't interested, but we're pushing up and we're at the top of a new range, right? And then you expect some type of retracement. I mean, there's literally on the daily, look at the daily, there's literally not one bearish candle. Like it's all bullish, right? So when we broke through this high, it makes sense for us to come back down. If you're bullish or bearish, like basic price action, you would expect for it to kind of come back to this area only because the breakout artist. I mean, look how we pushed right through, right? Like I even when I was trading yesterday, I even caught the push through, right? And it was just like constantly pushing up. So watch yesterday's video so it makes sense. So what did it do? Like it obviously came back to get, and that is a gap, a strong weak gap that we've reached now, right? This right here. So with the 9:30 here, let's transfer here. So 9:30 we push up, right? And then we had the opening range. So this day is difficult in the sense that, I mean, if you were bullish from here, cool, right? That's easy. You're very close to that imbalance that I drew initially in this 15-minute, and you understand that you're still bullish, right? In a sense. So it's like, okay. Excuse me. And then what do you have here? Well, you have the opening gap for today's gap. And then you have the midnight open. Then you have the gap, obviously the super gap, the void that is completely empty. And then you have it graded plus that high right there that we made at the 3:30. I know this is all obvious, but I mean, do you have this on your chart? Do you have the 50% level shown on your chart? So that's key. When we pushing up here, we're pushing up. If you had sold from here and you thought this was like support resistance. I get it. I understand. And you're trying to make this leg down to get maybe down to here. I get it. And I ain't mad at you. But this is a day that you can see both sides of the market as well, right? So you got to be very careful. And if you were expecting for it to just come down, well, obviously you want to wait for order flow. So what do? We came up, we made a high here, and then we're on the overbought. And then as you see, we push all the way back up here. Now we're back in the overbought. So, and some, you could write this for your notes, but sometimes on the 1 minute and the 5 minute, once it hits it twice, so to speak, like that, is when the real move happens, right? I mean, obviously you'll show it as a sometimes we'll call it a divergence or whatever, but in general speaking, it'll bump even maybe the third time, right? But that's just a side note. But anyways, as you can see here, we do push right up to the 50% and stall, right? And then if you're sitting here trying to take out that high, well, see, this is where I wasn't interested in the market to begin with, because of the fact that we have pushed up so high. We have now accomplished getting into that gap. So really, I mean, the only thing above here is obviously this high here, and then those highs right there. I'm on the 1 hour over here. If you see this is a double top right here. See these highs right here? Like they're super a draw right there. But that's also the imbalance right here from this July 17 Wednesday. So the magic question is, I'm assuming, is are we pushing through? Are we going to this level here, right? And let me just do this and change this. I mean, obviously, we could say, hey, we're gonna blow right through, right? But like, let's look at it. Let's look at it this way on the 1 hour right here. Right? Let's look at it like this. When the price dropped here, right, clean break right there, we went right through, right? So people started making money from here, because even when I was up here, I was like, oh, we're still bullish, right? But then when it broke through again, this is letting you know, like, okay, well, we have sellers in the market for sure. Even if they weren't talented enough to catch it from here or from in here, we know for a fact that they got into here. Number one. Number two, we know that they got right there, and we know that they got right there, because once this pushed down, obviously we know that people got in here on the lazy side, on the easy side. Like that's why the price comes back up to a traditional support resistance, because it's pretty much getting out all the momentum buyers, right? Lazy buyers, or sellers, I mean, in this case. So as we're pushing up here, we're attacking all that, right? So where's logically up here? What's logically next besides the gap? Well, this level, this high here, all right, and that high, and then that level there. Right now, if we don't make it that high and we just keep coming back down, I'm giving you the context to mention this. Like, if we have done enough on the top side, and now we're inside this gap, and we technically didn't fill up the top portion, right? So a dangling carrot would be like if you're here and you're saying, oh, I want to catch it to here. But this is where I sometimes struggle, because we don't know if it's going to seal. But guess what? 50% is a very strong area for it to sell off. And sure enough, what's above that 50% is that high right there that we made at the 330, 15-minute candle, right? So the thing is this: when this comes up and it starts making a new high, then a higher low, then a new high, and then a lower low. Well, in some instances, this would be a break of structure, right? So this retraces back here. And you would think this is a lower high, and then this is the lower low, and then a lower high would be somewhere here. And if you were caught up here with this, I understand, right? Because that would have made perfect sense for it to sell anywhere in this vicinity. But because of that opening gap, and because they're greedy, we know that they look at how they came up and they squeezed everyone else selling here, right? But they don't take out that high. So they're also engineering liquidity. So this buy side could eventually be the next target, which is probably where we're going now. But coming back down, we ask ourselves, who just made money? So in this scenario, when they got to the 50%, they said, all right, we're gonna drop this. We're gonna wipe out all the buyers, especially from 930, because 930 just literally shot up, right? But to the left of the chart, you also want to get into the previous day's range as well. But you're also attacking the people who are momentum buying up this way. So we naturally came back to the gap. So from the gap to the gap, right? And you see, if you do your projections from this high to this swing low, you're in the -2 to 2.5 area. And look how we touched the -2.5, literally like by, a couple points we hit it. So, and this would be like, okay, if you saw this nice breakdown right here, which is this candle of 1001. Remember, this is a 10-minute candle. This is the new 4-hour candle, right? So as you see here, when we're at the top of a range, we do expect some type of retracement. Just kind of like if you look at this previous price action here, when we ranged up here, and then what do? We retraced back, right? We took care of some of the previous day here, which in this case would be, we're talking about from Friday to Thursday. See that? So we came back, we got into that imbalance, and then we pushed back up for another high, and then we obviously made higher low and higher high. So in this case, it's very similar, right? But the question is, the magic question is do we keep pushing through? So the point is that when we get in this nice, this is the 1001, and we get this push back down. And if you're thinking, oh, well, this could have been the wick, and then this is going to be a distribution up. Okay, I'm not mad at you if you thought about that either. But that's a big wick. Not a big wick. That's a big candle. And we're rejecting from a algorithmic level, number one. Number two, and then number three, we got this nice imbalance here, which is this 1001. And then you come back, and these last two up candles literally hold as their supply block, literally stopping in its tracks. No body closed. And then excuse me, I gotta catch my breath. And then pushing down, it would be the next target for taking out lows here. And I thought they would have probably came a little lower. And I'm not saying the bottom side is done. And this is why this area is not that interesting, obviously, because it could do both. Like when we were here, we knew, yes, it could go down or up, but I mean, when you're this high and you're that close, you're generally going to wipe out liquidity, right? And all this price action here, it's like, it's generally speaking, where is your next major level of liquidity? Unless the price stopped here, and then decided to, retrace back down, but we didn't get that. We're constantly going up. But you can see here that what's it called? We come back to the open range. We get into this imbalance right here, this 10-12, and then it becomes a control of price. As you see these last two damn candles, nothing ever breaks that high, coming down, and then as you see the resistance right there, you can see that. Let me open this up too. You can see that there is that imbalance right there too, which is going to be the 10-24. We pop right into it. 50% level is damn near the same level as the opening range. This is what I love to see. And then it continues down to wipe out the liquidity, which is what to the left of the chart. As you can see, you got these nice clean higher lows right there, plus the imbalance. I can draw it so it can make sense. This is refined, obviously. And boom, right there, right? So we're sitting inside that refined level of that 4-hour imbalance. Now, with it coming this low, the only reason why I still mixed views because of the fact that this low, when we busted through this high right here, which we're talking about this high right here, this January, this August 1st high, it's pretty clean, right? And coming back to that level, it doesn't even have to hit these down candles. But I mean, coming close to this area would make sense. And it did, don't get me wrong. But it would make sense for them to come into this area, in general speaking. And then what did they do? Well, we rushed down here, and then they retraced back up. They retraced back up to a nice 60 to 71, which if you take a look at this fib from here to here, this retracement, we're just coming back. Let me do it like this. And you'll see that definitely a 61. You'll see here that we're at the 61 right there, right? You see that? So this is 50%, 61 of the range here. You can see that, right? You can see that, right? I'm actually going to delete this 50% real quick. So right there, you can see when we're coming back up here, we're literally, drives up. We're coming back to the actually day open, which is that gap. And then we're wiping out all the liquidity. And again, here's a perfect point of why they took out that high only, because this is where that control of price was, right? So they come back up and that's generally not a good sign for bearish, right? But they're coming back to wipe them out, right? And then what did they do? They came all the way down and then bounced right off the gap. Look, that's like to the tick, right? So, if you look, let me delete this. So that was a 61, right? Very high confluence coming back to that, this area where, because you ask yourself, when we're coming back up to wipe out sellers, who made money? Well, I immediately go right to this. Obviously, I go to that low there because we broke through it. But I obviously think of this level too, right? Because by the time this dropped, and let's just say someone said, "Oh, we're underneath the day open gap." Well, look how we reject it by the tick there, like perfectly. See that? See that level right there? So that's another reason why I would say, yo, hey, this is a good trade to come back up here, right? How would you have caught this? You could have caught it knowing that we're on the or bouncing on this area. If you had that -2 standard deviation, that would also be helpful because it's literally perfect. And then or this imbalance right here, obviously. I guess I'll draw it. That level right there, right? So with these two down candles and support going up, all right, then nice little speaker here. How I see that, look at high, 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 retrace back to take at least one of the lows. So they make this higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, but then you're like, whoa, how is that structure? Here's the higher low. Well, this is, look at the bodies never closing below. So it's acceptable. It's a part of the game. There's nothing you can do about it. But at the same time, recognize this pattern here because this is trying to confuse people, obviously. So shoots up for that opening day gap. Excuse me. And then what do? Well, they push it down, squeeze everybody, and this is dirty. And this right here is dirty. And if you can see here, I'll go to dollar hit that gap I was telling you yesterday. See that gap? We went right for it. Literally just said that yesterday, right? And then here you can see that the reason why that 50% level was important on that gap and us retracing back down was because we also had a nice confirmation of a divergence there with higher highs on S&P and lower highs with Dow and NAS. So that was also the catalyst of getting down. So if you add all to what I said, this will make it more sense, right? So the push is down, and then you get these lower lows here. What's it called? Well, what's funny is that you did have this. I forgot to mark this. You did have this here at the time. This was a higher high, so I'm sorry, higher low here with Dow. And does this pan out or not? I don't know. Put a question mark with this one. But when this happened here, and we had higher lows with Dow, and then we slowly came down with NAS and S&P, and we were down here. I'm like, okay, well that looks like a nice potential place to buy. But what did S&P do? They kept making lower lows here. All right, so that's the thing is that NAS didn't, so we pushed up higher right there, right? So once we retrace, and this is a simple lower low, lower high, in my opinion. But when they came back down here, and you'll notice that these are lower lows here, and this is pretty much also lower lows as well. If you take a look from there to there, you got the divergence here, and that was so dirty to push us back up, right above that high, get into that imbalance there, and then now we retrace. So really, where are we going from here? Well, we got these equal highs here, and we got these equal lows here. So this is a situation where we have the news on Friday for the Jackson um, meeting that Powell is going to be talking about, and this is very common to set up liquidity like this for that event on Friday. So I'm technically really not that interested in the week, to be honest. And it's August, but this is the third week of August, which would be technically one of the better weeks of the 4 weeks. But I mean, we just want to get through this month, to be honest. But I know I sound like I'm rambling a little bit, but as you see here, we had these higher lows here, and I don't know if that's going to be the catalyst to push us up. I think it will be, because I got a couple divergences going on here, from here to here, right, and then also from here to here, right. So I think the top side is still next, but where do I think it should go? I know it should come below here. But and in a general gist, like, besides the liquidity here of the double bottom right there, but also the push out artist, having them come back down here to get into the into that August 1st high that we broke through. So if you look here on the retracement here from on this 1 minute from here to here, you can see the projection from 1 to 5. You can see that it pretty much was in the vicinity of this trade here, but coming to the 2 here fell short of that, right? So I don't know. It's literally in the middle, but in general speaking, this isn't a reversal area either. It's not like we raided here, not like we consolidated and had a nice raid for the news. Like if this would have pushed up higher, that would have been maybe different. We didn't get that though. So to me, this is just a regular pullback. So do we get one more drive before we push back up, or are we just going to push up from here? And that's kind of like what I'm thinking. And if it does retrace one more time below here, it's just really to get to this area right here, right? In my opinion. And it can come below because people are push out artists from those lows, right? So by pushing up from this area up, right? So very simple. And but at this point, it's like it's really anybody's game here. Let me see. Let me just be done. So, and if you take a look here, yeah, I mean, rarely do these turn out to be very serious turnarounds. It could be. This looks like 3 drives on Dow. And then Monday and Tuesday, and I would have thought more of a bearish week if Monday and Tuesday were bullish, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday would kind of be like the pullback in the heart. But we didn't get that. We got a pullback on Tuesday today. So that tells me that this week is still going up. For me, that's what that tells me. Because now Tuesday is just Monday's the low of the week, and then Tuesday, see here? Yeah, I mean, we got in there. We got a nice reaction here. And you never know. I don't know. But with this news coming up this week, market could move in a bunch of funky directions. So if I was you, I would be done. I would try to be done by Thursday for sure, if traded at all. So, yeah, we're still bullish though. So, because I mean, that's a break. That's a shift here too, in general sense. But again, like I was mentioning yesterday, if it was going to be bearish for me, I needed to stop here. Like I needed to I need to stop in his tracks and literally just continue down. So we'll see. We'll see how their reaction here. Got this nice liquidity there. You never know if the news can come in and attack that. Put that there. For the bottom side. Liquidity. And we'll be done. And last thing I'll say is, as far as the mindset goes, and the degree of technical challenges that we have, It's all psychological. It's like what trade would you rather have been a part of? What's the best advice that you could maneuver around this? Well, trying to catch it all is it is hurtful. I mean, I've done that in my past. I was able to catch all this shit, and then I was also to overtrade, and I was also to be a degenerate and and not even follow rules. Just but keeping the losses small and minimum is the number one goal and key as a trader. I don't care what anybody says. I don't even care what. Forget psychology. Forget technical analysis. In general speaking, that is the name of the game. If you have patience and you wait for this to reach a key level of 50% of the gap, or breaking through here, like for example here, it's like, okay, well, we came this low. You expect the controller price to form, which is this area here, or coming down here and then retracing back, like when your price is here and you broke through here, and if you look on one of these higher time frames, right, or whatever, breaking through. One of the models I love is buying here and coming right back up to here, right? Like if you're patient, can you see how many moves we had? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just say 5 right there. We'll just stick with the 5. Which one here do you see you could have waited for? Let the first move go. I let the second move go. I caught this and caught this to here. That would be me. And generally speaking, right? Like, and then pushing this down to here. Now, it doesn't have to close below. If you waited for here, then you're asked out. But getting into like this pocket right here, see that with the equal lows right there? See that? Like this would be like, where's the obvious price action or minimum areas that the price can go to and still maybe even reverse, but you don't care because you're taking out the fucking profit, right? So like that, just keep that in, just keep these ideas in mind, and you're, obviously you want to create a model and this and that, but again, the point is out of these 5 moves here, like which, I'm not even showing you the candles, like which one would you be a part of? Well, and that's as simple as that, right? And you only need one of these moves, and you don't even need all of it. You just need a fucking portion of it. Generally speaking, I'm trying to capture the portion of the day, the expansion or the despansion of a day. Very simple. I'm not trying to catch the whole entire day. I'm trying to catch a portion of that day, right? And that's really the simple logic. So I hope that helps. But you guys take care and God bless.